How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Untitled Chapter. Today is March 26, 2021, and today we're obviously going to focus on the major severe weather threat that's currently impacting the Southeast and the next severe weather threat, which will happen in the very near future that will impact a lot of the same areas that just got pounded today by severe weather. And we'll also talk about the potentially major wind threat in the Northeast. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. So as we begin by taking a look at the current hazard map provided from the National Weather Service of all the watches and warnings issued throughout the United States, and you see if you're in the browns or in the sort of beige color right around Ohio and Indiana, you see that you guys are under wind advisories and a high wind warning, especially in Ohio right now, right around the Great Lakes coast of upstate New York and Indiana, and portions of the higher elevations in the Appalachian Mountain Range. And you might notice that that closer to the low pressure trajectory, the high wind warnings are issued more prominently, where Ohio and Indiana are going to be very close to the track of this low pressure system, and as a result, it's going to feel the strongest of the winds, since the difference with the contrast between the air pressures closer to the low pressure system is obviously very high, and as a result, the wind's going to be stronger around the low pressure system compared to just outside of the low pressure system, where that contrast between air pressures isn't as strong. So as a result, high wind warnings are in effect, and we do have a large area of wind advisories in effect throughout New Jersey and throughout the Northeast. And if you don't know what's the difference between a high wind warning and a wind advisory is pretty much, I think, the threat when you're forecasted to receive wind gusts over 58 miles per hour between 43 and 58 miles per hour, while if you're under a high wind warning, wind gusts are expected to exceed 58 miles per hour. So you could occasionally see wind gusts over 60 miles per hour and maybe 70 in some isolated spots if you're under the high wind warning region. So you need to watch out for that. And I do expect it to expand once the forecast becomes more educated for more than tier Northeast, and the National Weather Service gives a little bit more confidence there's going to be a strong wind event in the upper Northeast. But in terms of what's happening right now, if you take a look at the current radar, you see that this is a futurecast radar, but it gives a good idea of what's going on, and we do see a line of thunderstorms going through Georgia, Alabama, and the Southeast, and we also see this large area of rain surrounding this low pressure system at this point. So there's definitely quite a big mid-latitude cyclone, and right now it's bringing severe thunderstorms right around the Atlanta area, and we do even see some flash flood warnings in effect. So this is unfortunate to see, especially this late at night, especially if you live near a small creek, because you might be at risk because of that, and you need to watch out for that if you're driving on the roads or if your home is very nearby a creek. And we do see flood watches also in effect, as there's just going to be a lot of rain in those areas. If we take a look at the radar, you see that even tornado warnings are issued for as of right now. So while there is certainly still severe weather, the good news is that it's expected to wind down later during the day. If we take a look at the GFS model as of right now, you see that eventually the eastern half of the United States is going to stabilize when it comes to temperature. There won't be as much unstable air, and with less unstable air means that there's going to be less convection. So as a result, the atmosphere is going to stabilize, and we're not going to see as much severe thunderstorms later today, as the thunderstorms should wind down for a lot of Southeast, and further up northward there won't be enough unstable air to induce a lot of severe thunderstorm activity. So it shouldn't be a threat for you guys, as the main threat will obviously be the wind. However, next low pressure system does get me concerned, and it's expected to happen very soon. So it isn't one of those things where I'm forecasting this, let's say 5 days out or beyond this, because this is going to happen very soon, within the next 48 hours and a little bit beyond, maybe around 3 days from now. But that's still in the very near future and certainly in the realm of possibilities. And it really gets into that forecast area where it's pretty confident that this will happen. It's not like a 5 day forecast where it becomes more uncertain. This is only around 2-3 days out, so this is expected to come soon, and unfortunately it's expected to impact a lot of the same areas that just got pounded today by severe weather, by supercell thunderstorms, and unfortunately deadly tornadoes, where I think at right now the death toll is at 5, and I hope that that death toll does not rise. And but it's unfortunate that we're going to see another round of thunderstorms move through the same areas that just been pounded. And you see that there's a big dip in the jet stream. There's going to be enough unstable air to induce these thunderstorms, to induce strong updrafts, to create potentially severe weather threat, a major severe weather threat, another one, and a major tornado threat. If we take a look at the forecasted wind shear with this, and you see the wind is just all over the place, because just around just behind the area of rain, you see that the winds along the surface are coming directly from the north, but that completely shifts in the upper levels of the atmosphere to the point where we're seeing the winds directly come from the west, which is definitely concerning when we see wind shear this potent, because it raises the chance of tornadoes considerably. And the wind shear isn't as strong, thankfully, closer to the convection, but there certainly still is just enough to create some problems when it comes to a tornado activity. And if we take a look at the GFS model, the GFS model's forecast when it comes to convective available potential energy, or CAPE, if we take a look at that, it gives a good idea of how much severe weather should be expected, where the areas that have the most CAPE. And you see that as of right now, there's a decent amount of convective available potential energy, and it's the same ones that's producing a flash flood threat just north of Atlanta and some severe weather through Atlanta. But it's expected to slow down, because like I said, the atmosphere in the eastern half of the United States will eventually stabilize. So as a result, we're going to see a little bit more. We're going to see a little bit less severe weather. However, this convective available potential energy will return with the next cold front, where we see just a sudden surge of potential energy for the atmosphere to pretty much feed off of, as it's pretty much asking for a major severe weather threat, or at least some sort of thunderstorm threat throughout the southeast. And this is very concerning when we see the convective available potential energy as high as nearly 3,000, where we do see the yellows, we do see some portions of oranges, which is certainly worrying, because we do not want to see another major severe weather threat. However, it's becoming likely based off of everything we're seeing. The European model is also agreeing that there's going to be a lot of unstable air in the atmosphere in the southeast come right around Saturday to Sunday, where we do see we're going to see just a very potent severe weather threat, and there's going to be a large squall line of thunderstorms moving through the area. So after this trough moves through, the atmosphere will stabilize, but there's another dip that's pretty much going to approach the eastern half of the United States and create another foreign bowl extratropical cyclone, and mid-latitude cyclone. We see a squall line of thunderstorms behind the cold air on the western portion of this trough. So as a result, we're going to see a lot of unstable air. It's unlikely to change in the near future, and this could be another major severe weather, unfortunately, as all the signs are pointing towards it. The computer models are pointing towards it, the convective available potential energy, and it's unlikely it's gonna change. Maybe the severe weather threat does, maybe it's a little bit less than expected, depending on how much unstable air there is. Maybe the jet stream dip doesn't dip as far south to interact with that warm air to create as major of a jet stream dip, or potentially the jet stream dip could be even stronger and we see a worse severe weather threat. It still has yet to be seen. Really all depends on how much northerly winds will pull down that jet stream to the south, but right now it seems most likely that we're going to see some sort of severe weather in the southeast, so you need to keep a close eye on that and prepare again, because I think more likely than not, a severe weather will occur in a lot of these southeast states. And in terms of exactly where you might be asking, let's currently take a look at my extreme severe weather map, where it really gives a good idea of where to expect the worst severe weather. And obviously, if you're in the reds, this is where the major severe weather will occur. And this is unfortunate because the worst of severe weather happened in northern Alabama and Mississippi, and that red portion isn't very far off from northern Alabama, and it's even including portions of northern Mississippi, which just got pounded by supercell thunderstorms and tornadoes. So to see you guys impacted again in a major way by this next shock is definitely concerning, and I'm concerned that maybe the severe weather could be even worse, because the past two severe weather threats in the southeast have just I've noticed have just had the trend. When we get closer to the event, the computer models begin to detect that we're going to see an even worse severe weather threat than before. And I'm scared that that trend will continue with this next shock, where once we get closer to the event, the computer models will start to notice that, hey, this will be even more major than what we originally expected. And the fact that it's saying it's major only still 3 days out gives me the concern that a lot could change, and not in a good way, unfortunately. And we do see that there's a moderate chance of severe weather just outside of it, so still be prepared for severe weather if you're just outside of it. Large hail, damaging winds, and strong tornadoes are likely if you're in the red part especially, and even a good chance if you're in the orange and yellow, a possible chance. And then minimal severe weather just outside of it, as there won't be as much unstable air as, let's say, if you're in the red region. So for the most part, don't expect much of any severe weather, but there's still certainly a chance, so you do not want to disregard that fact completely. And you see that in my map. I'm also listing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as a possibility through the Northeast, as obviously high wind warnings are issued throughout Indiana, Ohio, portions of Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And I do expect that to expand as we get closer to the actual event further up northward, when pretty much the threshold of issuing watches and warnings becomes pretty much the Northeast gets the threshold to issue watches and warnings once we get closer to the event, like certain hourly thresholds from the event. So yeah, definitely prepare for strong winds in the Northeast. If you take a look at the forecasted wind for the Northeast this week, you're going to see that this not only this trough will bring strong winds, where we do see the greens, which represent winds over 25 knots, which is equivalent to over 30 miles per hour sustained. And we do see some reds along the lakes where the friction is limited, where the wind could flow a lot more freely. And we do see a large area of strong winds throughout the Northeast, and this is very concerning. So make sure to bring those loose things inside. And then if we even move beyond that, we see this next trough also has the possibility of bringing strong winds, because it's going to rapidly develop, and it's going to be under a very unstable environment where the cold air is going to want to filter in the very warm air in the Atlantic. So you need to keep in mind of that in the Northeast, that another major wind threat could be associated with this next trough as well. And in terms of the rainfall forecast, which may be another issue, especially for those in the Southeast that just got heavy rain from these supercell thunderstorms and flash flooding just north of Atlanta, Georgia, we see that there's going to be an area close to around 3 to 5 inches of rain throughout Tennessee over the next 5 days. And this is concerning because it's going to add on to the fact of that they already experienced just heavy rain, and a lot of rivers could already be high at this point, close to overtopping their banks. And this is very worrying for the Southeast, and you guys, especially along the rivers, need to pay close attention to that. So just stay tuned to your local forecast as another major severe weather threat should be forecasted, and just make sure to guys are prepared, because I want to see you guys all safe for this next severe weather threat. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. And I hope you guys have a good day.